Don't mind the matching fit, hat and jersey alike. I just got back from the D-backs versus Pirates game where we can smash the Pirates. Let's go. All right, anyway, this is what we're going to be talking about today. 5 things that I would change about the UFC right here, right now. Okay? First thing we're going to be starting out with, the motherfucking weight classes. No, sorry. I'm a little tipsy. Weight cutting. We're going to start off with weight cutting. There's no fucking reason anybody should be cutting 40 pounds. Don't mind the slurs either. I'm a little drunk. There's no reason anybody should be cutting 40 pounds to be making weight. Like Ilya Taporia just came on Joe Rogan a couple months ago and he was like, yeah, I'm like 190 and he fights at 145. There's no fucking reason you should be cutting more than fucking 15 pounds to make weight. Listen, I'm with Joe Rogan here when he's like, it's just sanctioned cheating. It really is. If you can't fucking handle your weight or like control your weight, you shouldn't be fighting 40 fucking pounds down. You know why? You're a pussy. I'm a 135er. I weigh 155. 20 pounds max. And I'm kind of pushing it on my own rules here, right? Like, I really think it should be only like 10 to 15 pounds. When I say I'm 155, this is me kind of just not really trying to make weight or really not training like, 7 days a week. So it's like I'm probably like a 150 naturally. So 15 pounds I think should be the limit. Anything past 15 pounds you should be fighting the next weight up. Same thing with Islam, Khabib. Like and look, I'm not gonna point fingers and say people are on steroids. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. But I'm gonna do that. There's no fucking way your body can maintain healthiness cutting 40 pounds every single time you fight unless you're supplementing it. Like, I just don't believe that. Like, I don't care. You could tell me you're healthier than a fucking horse. I don't give a fuck. I don't believe it. If you are sitting here telling me that you can make weight, right? You're sitting here telling me you can make weight every single time, cutting 40 pounds Why do you think Khabib got hurt all the fucking time? Why do you think Khabib pulled out of so many fights, canceled so many fights? Because cutting weight, you get fucking injured, bro. And I don't believe that you could cut that much weight without supplementing your body to be able to do it, right? That's why TJ Dillashaw got caught going down to 125 because he needed the supplements to make that weight. You know what I'm saying? I just think these Russian dudes got a little bit more scientifical fucking things going on over there to where they could kind of get away with things. Whatever, right? There's so many people cutting more than 25 pounds, to make weight. It's fucking insane. I do believe it's sanctioned cheating, and I do believe it's not healthy for your body. That's the main thing, right? I don't believe it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy for your brain to be cutting that much weight the day before you fight, and then you're taking brain damage. No matter what, I don't care if I do not care if you come out with a flawless victory. You're still taking brain damage through training camp, through those couple punches you took in that fight, because no one's getting not hit, right? Unless, it's in the first 20 seconds of the fight, whatever. But it's like, I just think people should be fighting closer to their weight class. Listen, I'm not the pro here. I don't know how they should change this and what they should do, or what kind of tests they should do, or whatever it may be. That's for the pros to figure it out. At the end of the day, I believe that you should not be cutting more than 10 to 15 pounds to make weight, right? Next thing is more weight classes. I would add more weight classes, and it's not like I would add more weight classes throughout the entire division. But as a smaller guy, I'm a bantamweight, I do believe that I would be a perfect 140. Like, my body would be perfect at 140, maybe 138, right? So maybe do every 5 pounds up to 155. So 125, 130, 135, 140, 145, 150, 155. And then after 155, do a 160, because it jumps from 160 to 170. And then after that, every 10 pounds. So 155 to 160, 160 to 170, 170 to 180, 180. This might be the problem here, because this is where we're going to be like, because 170 to 185 is a big jump as well. So maybe 170, 180, keep 185, and then just add in a 95 before we go to 205. Just something in between 185 and 205, something in between 170 and 185, something in between 155 and 170, because those are huge weight jumps, and like, people are literally like in-betweeners, you know what I mean? Like, it really sucks. Like, Gilbert Burns probably would thrive at something like 165 because he's too small to make 155 or he's too big to make 155, but he kind of gets overwhelmed by bigger guys at 170 sometimes, not all the time, but he might be somebody that 165 might be the perfect zone for him, you know what I mean? And we got countless other people, you know, that we could make that, you know, argument for, kind of like, you know, Joaquin Buckley. He's not the biggest 170. He did fight at 185, you know, at one point, because he's muscular, but at the same time, I think he could fight 165, and that's where he'd be perfect. You know, he'd be a bigger 65er, but you know, his height wouldn't make him the biggest 65er. And, you know, kind of like Volkanovski, I think 150 he would thrive. You know, 145. He 145, you know, is not bad because he is a little bit smaller for that weight class, like in terms of height. But like 150 would be perfect. You know, people like Frankie Edgar who are small at 55, but then they had to jump to 45, which is cutting a lot more weight. It's just, it would be more interesting, right? And I know Frankie Edgar is an old-timer fighter, but like, listen, I just think it would be better for the sport. I think it'd be better for the fighters. You'd get healthier guys fighting, so you'd get better fights, in my opinion. That's all I'm thinking. Like with these two rule changes, like with weight classes and weight cutting, you would get healthier fighters, and in return, you would get better fights. And you know, that's just what I believe, right? And then when we're talking about the heavyweights, unlimited heavyweights. Don't put a 265 cap on the fucking heavyweights. Heavyweight means heavyweight, dog. The biggest motherfucker. If there's a guy that's out there that's 300 plus pounds, put him in that fucking division. Why are we limiting the fucking excitement on the heavyweights? And then you're just limiting people who could be in the heavyweight division, in a division that's already struggling to have people that are like, you know, just a fire roster. You know what I mean? The heavyweight division has struggled the most throughout the entirety of the UFC in terms of just star power roster, right? But the more people that can come into that heavyweight division, the better. And it's crazy how like 205 is the limit, but we're putting a cap on 265? Like, what are we talking about here? Put fucking 305ers in that bitch. Let's see who's really about that shit. If you want to fucking be the baddest man on the planet, air quotes, put in anybody at that fucking weight. That way, guys like Eddie Hall that are that size, or like, you know, guys who are like just naturally 300 pounds, because, you know, believe it or not, there's guys that are naturally 300 pounds. Look at Francis Ngannou. He kind of has to cut weight to make heavyweight. You should not have to cut weight to make heavyweight. That's just bullshit. So get rid of that shit. Put in the fucking 325 pound guys. That would be amazing. Could you imagine somebody that's athletic at 300 pounds and just cracking somebody, seeing just what that could do to somebody? The wrestling, stuffing a takedown, just the wear and tear that they could just put on guys. I think that would be awesome. All right, now let's get into something a little bit more controversial. Let's talk about fighter pay, okay? So, like, I'm not going to sit here and harp on fighter pay too much, right? Like, I do believe fighters get paid great. I do, especially, like, you know, the ranked guys. They do get paid good money. Let's just talk about, at first, a couple of things. Let's just play a little bit of devil's advocate. I think the roster is a little bit inflated. I think, you know, the Dana White Contender Series is doing a little bit too much, and then they got the Road to the UFC, and then they got the Ultimate Fighter. Let's cut out two of those things. Let's just only have Dana White Contract Series, right? Because we've seen, and the record is kind of tracking to where, like, the best fighters so far have been coming out of Dana White's Contender Series. I know UFC champions have been coming out of Ultimate Fighter before, yada yada, but listen, the Ultimate Fighter's dead. No one's watching that shit. There hasn't been a good Ultimate Fighter in years. The past Ultimate Fighters have been guys who literally have been cut from the UFC or didn't win past Ultimate Fighters in the past, and it's just like, get the fuck out of here, put me in there, fuck these guys. So it's not exciting. DWS or DWCS, whatever, is fucking dope. That's where, like, the really good fucking guys come in. And I think recently in the past, this has shown, like, most recent, this has shown that these guys are fucking gangster. They're fucking skillful as hell. And, you know, I think that's the better way to do it, is Dana White Contract Series for sure. Cut the fucking Road to the UFC. Cut all that other shit. Nobody's literally watching it. Nobody even know. Like, there's a Road to UFC going on right now. Nobody fucking knows about it. Nobody. So it's like, get rid of that shit. That way we're not paying these guys. We could put a little bit more pocket change in some of these other guys. And cut down the roster by like 15-20% maybe. Not even, don't go too crazy, right? Because you still need guys to take fights on short notice just in case a fight falls out. Like, I get that. Having an inflated roster is really good when, fighters, they pull out of fights, or if, fights just don't go through, like you could just throw somebody in there. That's great to have more people on the roster, but at the same time, you are taking the back end of fighter pay, right? And then maybe, I'm not a businessman, but maybe give the fighters a little bit more of a percentage, especially maybe the last 3 fights on the card, like the co-main event. I don't know what just the third fight, then the co-main event, and then the main event. Maybe give those guys a little bit more of a cut on ticket sales and concessions. I don't know how business works, but I think it might be able to. You could do it, right? And get rid of Apex cards. Fuck Apex. You're not making any extra money doing Apex cards. Apex cards suck. Like, Apex cards were cool, but to be honest, it's not appealing to the fan base, especially the ones that are watching. Like, listen, I'm a puritist. I'm gonna watch no matter what. I thought the Apex fights were dope because you could hear the punches, hear the kicks, hear the coaches fighting, or the coaches coaching, and it is fun in a sense, but at the same time, imagine Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar in a full arena. When he's like, I'm the best boxer, and then he fucking dodges all those punches and then fucks him up, and it's like, how fucking crazy the crowd would have went? Like, dude, put those kind of fights in front of 20,000, 30,000 people, it's a wrap. Like, so get rid of the Apex. That'll fuck that. That's just a waste of money, waste of production. Pay fighters a little bit of the percentage of concessions, the percentage of ticket sales, and then cut down on the roster a little bit, but say we don't do none of that. Don't do none of that. This is what I'm thinking. So keep the 50K bonuses, right? Keep the 50K bonuses. Because not every single event you do all 3 bonuses, right? Fight of the night, which is, I guess, 2 bonuses, so 4 bonuses. Fight of the night, knockout, submission, right? It's usually 2 performance bonuses and then a fight of the night bonus. Keep those because you're not always going to spend the 50K, right? Am I right or am I wrong? But only give those out to the main card. And then prelims, you do 20K. Same thing. Best fight on the prelims, performance of the night, and maybe you just do 2. Maybe you just do performance of the night and then the fight bonus for fight of the night on the prelims. Or maybe you do 2 performance bonuses and then no prelims fight of the night. Maybe whatever, right? It doesn't matter to me, but I think that would give an incentive for the prelims to fight a little bit harder, which, dude, we see badass fights on the prelims all the time. Those guys deserve to get fucking paid. And then, you get a crazy knockout on the prelims or a crazy performance on the prelims or a crazy fight on the prelims, but then you get Justin Gaethje on the main card and he's automatically going to get fight of the night. So it's kind of like, fuck everybody else. He's already going to get it. That spot's taken. But, I think that's just a better incentive. Fuck fighter pay in terms of like what we're paying fighters on the contract. This would help out the bonuses because you're not always going to give those bonuses away. So it's not a guarantee you're giving away those all 3 20K slots or all 4 and then all 4 50K slots, right? On a great night, on a fucking star-studded night, you're still not going to give away all of those things, right? It's not guaranteed. So just to put that out there would give fighters more of an incentive to fight harder, right? So next thing, we got to do something about the judging, bro. The judging is fucking horrific. Every fight fan knows it. Literally, from the casuals to the puritists, judging fucking sucks. Redo the entire judging rule set. Redo fucking everything. Fuck the 10-point must system. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. And referees need to be fucking on point. If someone grabs the cage, take a fucking point. If someone does a low blow, hard warning, that's your last warning. If someone does a fucking eye poke, dude, the dumbest fucking rule with Herb Dean and his fucking keep your fingers straight up. Listen, Herb Dean, if you're fucking ever gonna watch this, if I'm fighting you and my fingers are straight up and you level change and I go like that, my fingers aren't straight up anymore. It doesn't matter what I do. If you level change and my hand follows, my hand is never going to stay straight up. That is the dumbest fucking rule. Keep your hands like this. It's not fucking hard. Listen, I have sparred countless fucking rounds with MMA gloves on. And you just got to trust me on this. You just got to take my word for it. I've never poked anybody in the eye one fucking time during training. One fucking time. I've been training for 14 years. Suck my dick. I have never poked anybody in the fucking eye one time. Like, it's not fucking hard to have some self-control. So just don't fucking stick your fingers out. Keep your fucking hands closed. Keep your hands up. What are we doing this shit? Reaching. If you're doing that shit, you're getting coached wrong and you need to be fucking coached better. Okay? Second off, let's stick to judging. All right? Back to the judges. Fuck the refs. Back to the judges. We need to fucking score damage. Damage needs to be considered a lot better. Backing up and winning a fight is very plausible. You don't have to have octagon control to win a fight. Just because you're walking forward doesn't mean you're fucking winning, okay? Sean O'Malley proves this. You know, guys like TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz, they prove this over and over again. You don't need to be backing up to win a fight. Now, there's been times where Corey Sandhagen backs up, and that's all he's fucking doing. He's putting out no output, and he deserves to lose those fights that he's lost against Peter Yan and a couple other guys where he's literally just being a little too passive, okay? Corey, I love you. You just need to be a little bit more active. Okay, you have all the skill set to beat these fucking dudes up. With TJ Dillashaw, you should have boxed a little more. You were catching them in the boxing exchanges. You stopped boxing as much. Don't know why. Anyway, we need to change. You know, I do like how they're but at the same time, it's just not consistent. You know, you'll see someone get a takedown. They don't really do much with it, and you know, the guy gets back up and they're on the feet, and sometimes that guy wins the round. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they still lose if they get taken down and the guy literally does nothing. Like the Jose Aldo fight. Like, the dude took him down, but he got fucking dropped in the third round. How do you get dropped like bad and you got kicked in the fucking face and fell on your back, but just because you took him down and landed, you know, 6 to 7 elbows when Jose Aldo was on his back? Now, granted, Jose showed no signs of trying to get up, but like at the same time, what's more important, the takedown with a couple elbows or you almost getting obliterated on the feet? We need to fucking have these serious conversations, because in my opinion, the almost getting obliterated on the feet is way closer to the fight being stopped than when, you know, Jose Aldo took a couple elbows and then pretty much held him down the whole time. Like, come on, bro. Like, we need to fix this fucking judging, because it is horrendous. It's just horrendous. Again, I'm not the professional. You guys are. You guys fix it. You guys find out what the fuck needs to be fixed, right? Because I'm just calling it how it is. Some of these fights, and a lot of guys know it, are fucking bullshit, okay? Now, last thing, I think there needs to be a couple of rule changes here, okay? And this is kind of harps on a little bit of the ref, like that I was kind of like harping on those refs in the last one. This kind of, you know, piggybacks that. So first thing I think is that knees to a grounded opponent should be totally legal. Knees to, if you shoot on me and I sprawl, I should be able to knee you in the fucking face. I should be able to fucking soccer kick you. I should be able to stomp you in the head. I don't give a fuck. Like, as long as it's not in the back of the head where real brain damage could come into play, and that's where we've seen people get, you know, really hurt and killed in fights, especially boxing. You know, Joe Rogan, suck my dick. You'll never be able to fucking punch me in the back of the head. And like, you're just insane. Like, do you not understand you know, how severe getting hit in the back of the head is, you dipshit? I love you, Joe. I'm sorry. I'm just talking shit. But you know, that's just what I'm saying. Don't take out the back of the heads. But if you shoot on me and I sprawl, I should be able to knee you in the head. Like, I should just be able to. And I guess you can have the argument of you could break somebody's neck, because you can. But if you shoot on somebody, you shouldn't fucking stay there. Like, you shouldn't stay there. You should shoot, and if they sprawl, you should fucking get back to a guard or get the fuck out of there, like, some way, somehow. Don't stay there underneath the legs, you know? That's just something that needs to be evolved and addressed in MMA. The knee to the grounded opponent is fucking ridiculous. If you got two hands on the ground, I love how they took that rule away, where if you put two hands on the ground but not a knees on the ground, you're not a grounded opponent, so I can knee you in the face. Even if you have a knee on the ground. Why would you have a knee on the ground? It's a fight. Don't put your fucking knee on the ground. You're going to get kneed in the fucking face. Don't put yourself in a vulnerable position. Like, have some more fucking discipline. Like, I just don't understand that. I think that needs to be changed. I should be able to knee you when we're on the ground. And this one might be a little controversial. This is kind of just like flowing off the top of my head, but no saved by the bell. Fuck your saved by the bell. If I rock you and the bell rings and you're like this and you're rocked still, fuck that. Put on fucking 20 more seconds. And if you survive, like, you know, maybe 30 more seconds where there's like, so like if there's 5 seconds left and I rock you and I'm about to finish you and the fucking bell, you know, rings, 30 seconds, just like soccer, they give them an extra minute, right? 30 seconds, 40 seconds. We've seen it time and time again. Imagine if Izzy, when he rocked Alex Pereira, had 30 more seconds in that second or first round, whatever it was. Imagine. It would have been a totally different fight. He would have knocked his ass out. I think fighters should get a 30-second bonus if they rock somebody at the end of the round within the last 5 seconds. If there's 5 seconds left on the clock and somebody gets rocked, this is up to the ref, this is up to the judges and the timekeepers to go like this. If they see somebody get rocked, they go like this. Now, it could be controversial to where it's like, maybe he didn't get rocked. Maybe he just got hit and like was just off balance a little bit and they go like this, right? Which isn't bad because then like if you're not rocked, then you should be fine. You should be able to continue. But then at the same time, it does look bad on the judges' scorecard because then they're like, oh, he obviously was rocked because they gave the other guy more time. I don't know. Now I'm kind of like going back on that. But one thing I can make an argument for is being in a submission. Right? Maybe the rock is going a little too far, right? It could be, convoluted. You could get a little cloudy there. But if you're in a submission, if I throw up a fucking triangle on you and there's 5 seconds left and I have your head and your arm in between my legs and my ankles, so long as my ankles are locked, time goes on. Fuck 30 seconds, infinite time. And once my ankles come unlocked and you posture up and get out, then the bell rings. If I get you in an armbar, even if you're defending, and this is where referees need to be, black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think all referees should be at least a purple belt or higher in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then they need to have some kind of striking background. If somebody is in an armbar, say I throw up an armbar from close guard, and the guy on top is kind of defending it really well, give me unlimited time until his elbow line clears my hip, right? And then, once his elbow line clears the hip, referee needs to be right there. Stop! Time, that's it. Round's over. That's my opinion on the saved by the bell thing, especially with submissions. I think the submissions, like, we could keep it going a little bit longer until somebody's out of it, right? Maybe if someone's, like, in an ankle lock, this is where it kind of gets a little bit weird. If someone's in an ankle lock and they're just kind of being stalemated, right, and no one's tapping, like, it could be... I could see that being a little bit of a problem. Maybe if it's like a stalemate submission, kind of like where there's an ankle lock and dude's just not going to tap. Like maybe after 30 seconds of him having an ankle lock locked, maybe we stop it. Maybe we're like, all right, bro, you're not going to get that. He's obviously not going to tap. It's over. But at the same time, let it go on. Just see what happens. Maybe he transitions into a knee bar or a heel hook maybe. I don't know. Right? We don't have to agree on the saved by the bell thing. I'm cool with it or without it. That one's just kind of off the dome. Okay, not fully off the dome. The submission one kind of did come from MMA Guru. That was kind of his idea, and I really like that. Okay, so shout out MMA Guru. That's a good idea. And then like kind of harping on the last thing I was talking about. This is pretty much the last thing I'm talking about with rules because I don't think a lot of the rules need to be changed too bad. But immediate point deductions, grabbing the cage. Hard warnings, only one warning if there's a nut shot, a groin shot. And I know accidents happen, but like, I'm a fighter, bro. I know not everybody has as much control as I do. I rarely, if ever, hit anyone in the nuts during sparring. Ever. And I get sparring and a fight is two totally different things. I totally get it. I just don't think that if I hit you in the nuts once, I'm not going to do it again. It's not going to happen again, especially if you give a hard fucking warning. If you tell them, hey, man, that's your last warning. You only get one fucking warning. Don't do that shit again. Because these things, they change the outcomes of fights. Like, look at that last Henry Cejudo fight. He got his eye poked, and then after his eye was poked, he was about to get finished. You know what I mean? So it's like, hard fucking warning, and then eye pokes again. You keep your fingers closed. Fuck the whole hand opening thing. Fuck all that. Keep your hands closed. Hard warning. And, stalling. I think stalling is my last big main key, right? If someone is stalling where they're just holding on, putting them up against the cage, kind of Mario Batista, Jose Aldo-like, kind of Marab, Jose Aldo-like, you know what I mean? If they're just holding you against the cage, you should be called for stalling. Now, I get you should be doing your best as the defensive fighter to get the fuck off the cage, right? You should be able to get off the cage. But if you can't, or if it's just a stalemate, you know what I mean? Like, if you're just holding me against the cage, like, you're not doing anything either on the offense. So there should be a stalling rule. And if you're on the offense, it's on you. It's not really the guy on defense. in terms of the cage press, right? If I'm holding you up against the cage, like, you're on the offense, you should be trying to take them down. Also, it could go both ways now that I'm thinking about it, because the guy on defense should be trying to better the position, right? When I say yellow cards, maybe don't do it to where it's I'm taking your purse away, because I don't want to do that, and then, like, advocate for fighter pay, but then also advocate for a rule that takes away people's pay. But you should be getting, like, if I do a yellow card, that's a point or half a point. You know what I mean? Like, if I give you a fucking yellow card, that's half a point right there. You need to fucking start working, or there's gonna be, and, like, this is also going to deal with, like, the different types of judging, a different way to judge fights. That'll, tune into that, a yellow card to whatever the judging is on points wise. You know what I mean? So maybe we could change the judging to give it more point based, where you're deducted points or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think these changes would be awesome. I just let me know what you think. I'm kind of drunk, so just, if I'm fucking talking out of my drunk ass, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, that's the video. See you guys on the next one. Make sure you subscribe. Deuces.